And welcome back. Jonathan Clarke joined live in studio by Chris Campion of the Knockout Drops, originally from Huntington, Long Island, right?
Absolutely, Huntington.
And currently starring in Escape from Bellevue at the Village Theater on Bleecker Street here in Manhattan. That's every Wednesday through Saturday night at 8 p.m. And the way I describe the show, Chris, I've seen it twice now. It's like, to me, I tell people what it's like. I say, well, it's like an off-Broadway rock opera, really, almost like Behind the Music. Of you and the Knockout Drops. We did a whole Q1043 night there a couple weeks ago, so people have been hearing me talk about it on the radio. But in your words, Chris, describe the show to our listeners.
Yeah,
I
am a fat lady, and I do sing opera. So
right.
Now I guess we term it like a rock and roll odyssey. Which was the sort of clever little spin we put on it, just because I'm telling some stories. From the band's history and kind of our trials and tribulations, through the music business, ups and downs, and
right.
A lot of funny stuff.
Oh, you're kidding? There are ups and downs in the music business?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah, it hasn't, yeah. We were hoping to flatline, but we didn't, and obviously, all of it culminates with my 3 trips to Bellevue.
The legendary
mental hospital.
And Bellevue's a regular hospital.
He said proudly.
It's a regular hospital, but it's also known mostly for its
infamously
mental health wing or whatever.
Yes. And, of course, I was there due to my heroic intake of cocktail and other substances, which, I'm not promoting here.
Right, of course.
Stay in school, kids.
Yeah.
And I was going into the nether regions of my buzz and saying some things that you shouldn't say, like I wanted to off myself and not making light of that, but that's what landed me there.
Yeah.
And of course, my escape happened. I found an unwilling patsy in there, and you'll have to come to the show to find out how I did that.
Well, we don't want to give it all away.
Yeah.
It's a true story, a rock and roll story, and really, it's like an all-American story if you think about it. With a happy ending. Well, not literally. That's another show down the street, probably.
Right.
But it does have a happy ending. But hope, and faith, and rebirth, and things like that.
Yeah.
And basically, you tell stories about you and your experiences being the lead singer in this band. And you're a good storyteller. But when did you realize that you wanted to speak these stories with this sort of arrangement, as opposed to most singer-songwriters and bands? They just sort of sing the stories that they write in their songs.
It's interesting how that happened because. We were touring in the UK, and we had this collection of songs. We were going to come back, and we were going to start recording this record. And I started noticing a theme, amongst some of the songs. And I'd always been in the habit of talking in between songs, maybe too much, and when I was on the gasoline, the booze.
The high test.
Yeah, those could... Those little sequences could really go for a long time. But so I started telling these stories over in England. And, they're really getting it. They're really laughing and getting attached to these things. And then, the stories would give way to the songs because I was kind of telling them how the songs came into being. And, we were having such success with that. And it's really funny. Like, they don't really know what Bellevue is over there.
Right. They're just here's a band that's playing and this guy's talking a lot.
They'd come up to me and they'd be like, all right, man, let me tell you something. That was hysterical what you were telling us before that song Wrong Turn. That was just this hysterical story. What's Bellevue? Like they didn't even really know, but they were still really getting into the story part of it. So on the flight back, I told Tom, my guitar player, Tom Licamelli, and also Vinny Samino, our drummer, came down to the lounge one night in the hotel, and I was scribbling some things down and started putting some ideas together. And on the flight home, I told Tom, I said, I think we're gonna be doing something different when we get back. And I had this idea, and we'd been in the habit of using multimedia during the shows for the last few years, showing videos and kind of filming funny stuff and sketch type stuff. And, I have this character who's kind of a knockoff of Bob Ross, the old Joy of Painting guy, and I call him Clem T. Pusser. And so we have this mock show on a PBS type station called Let's Paint with Clem T. Pusser.
Oh, okay, right.
And I'd get up there, and so we'd show something like that, and we have this existential caveman cartoon called Drogo, and we'd be showing that. So while we were playing songs, we'd cut to like a 30-second video, and people were getting into it. So, I wanted to marry everything together and get everything that I do under one roof. Everything that we do as a band, which is, multimedia and storytelling and songs. And it just kind of organically morphed into Escape from Bellevue.
And there is a soundtrack to the show, too, called Escape from Bellevue and Other Stories.
Right.
And talk about where this song fits into the plot of the story. Where did the love go?
Oh, okay. That was... all right, I wasn't quite prepared to talk about this on radio, but...
give us a hint, because we don't want to give everything away, because we still want people to go and see the show.
Yeah. That was a something that happened in when I was at a wedding in Charleston, South Carolina.
Oh, okay. Now, I've seen the show twice. I know exactly what you're talking about.
I'll put it to you this way. It involves me and rodeo clowns and a subsequent breakup.
Right.
From my girlfriend.
Let's throw in narcotics, too.
We'll throw in narcotics. And I met these crazy rodeo clowns at this wedding, and it almost became an episode of, like, Carnival.
Right.
I ended up, like, with these guys in their little shanty town because they were putting on a show in the town square.
Well, we have some copies of this soundtrack to give away. First 3 callers on the toll-free listener line, 1-888-872-1043. Each winner gets a copy of the soundtrack and a pair of tickets to see Escape from Bellevue, playing at the Village Theater on Bleecker Street in Manhattan. So good luck with that. And, Chris, what's next? I mean, we'll see Escape from Bellevue on the big screen, the small screen.
Could be,
a computer screen.
Yeah. Well, I ended up getting
iPod.
I ended up getting a book deal with Penguin Publishers. So, writing a book right now, and
based on this or another thing. Okay.
No, based on this. This is it's like an expansion. Kind of a rollicking sort of memoir. I hate to use that word, but it's more of an expansion of the show, and I have to hand in the manuscript. Believe it's due April of 2008.
Okay,
and then the book comes out in the winter of 2009.
Oh, fantastic!
Gotham Books, which is a part of Penguin Publishing.
Congratulations!
We've actually had a lot of inquiries about movie stuff. We've had quite a few people come down. That are movie producers and stuff like that. So I don't know where the hell that's going to go, but leaving that one in the hands of fate.
Well, you're enjoying the ride.
Enjoying the ride
right
a lot, and just having a blast down there. And we actually, I guess the show we've been running for about close to 3 months now, and so our final show is slated for August 4th. But it looks like we may be extending that.
It's Chris Campion from Huntington's very own The Knockout Drops. The show is Escape from Bellevue, playing at the Village Theater on Bleecker Street in Manhattan. That is every Wednesday through Saturday at 8 p.m. Chris, a pleasure. Thanks for coming in to do the show tonight,
man. Oh, thank you, Jonathan, and thanks for all the support.
Oh, absolutely.
It was such a blast when you came down there.
Yeah, that was a fun night.
Yeah, you really revved everyone into quite a roar there before I went on.
Well, from the soundtrack to the show, here's Where Did the Love Go? Chris Campion and the Knockout Drops out of the box on Q1043.